Hi guys, and welcome to another Bootstrap 4 with brackets text editor video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We're going to do some more work on our little site we've been building here, our sort of fantasy restaurant site. And what I want to do today is add a little sticky pop-up box. Now that's something you can either have on one side or the bottom, and when you hover over it I want it to slide in or slide up. I think I'm going to do one on the side here, and it wants to stay on the top and have some info that when people just click on it or even hover over it, it's going to go zhunk zhunk and show them a bit of info. So let's get started. Here's our folder with our Bootstrap site that we've built. Here's our index HTML file we'll be working with today, and inside the CSS folder is our custom CSS file that we made, and we'll be using that as well. And we want to open them with our brackets text editor. If you don't have it, brackets is free. You can download it from a link below this video, and I highly suggest you do, because we've been using extensions and shortcodes for this. I've already got my index HTML open here. So let's go ahead and start a new, I'm not going to give it a section, I'll just call it a container. So I'm going to add a Bootstrap 4 container with my little shortcode here. Those of you who've been following along will know all about this, but I apologize, I'll go over it again in case for people that haven't seen this video. That was a shortcode I used there. If you go up to your file and extension manager, and I'll go to my installed, here are all the ones I've got installed at the moment, and it's giving me a notification there's an update for that. All the ones I'm using here are absolutely free. If you don't have them, just type in Bootstrap or whatever type of code you're writing there in the available, and it'll bring up a list of them, and then you just hit the install, and you can either download a zip file from the GitHub site and drag it there, it'll install it, or just hit an install button and it'll do it automatically. And I think I've been using shortcodes today from RCH Bootstrap 4 snippets, so just to install that, again, like I say, it's free. Hit the more info button, it will take you to their website where they have a huge list of shortcodes that you can just type in these shortcodes and it'll put in the HTML for the appropriate code. And although it's great to write things out because that's how you learn stuff, it's such a time saver for me. I have to do this all the time, and I'm very much all about saving time. Okay, so let's add another div, and we'll give it a class so we can target it with some CSS, and I guess I'll call it, well, let's call it pop box, because it's going to be a little box that pops, or pops up or pops out. Alright, and inside here is where we want to put our content, and for this I'm going to use one of the nice new Bootstrap cards, and what it'll be is just a card with some information in it. Won't look much at first, but when I'm done it'll slide in from the side, hopefully. No, it should do. So let's use one of those shortcodes, BS4 card. I think I just want to card info, I guess that'll probably do us. And as you can see, it's just put in all that HTML for us, which has saved me a bunch of time. Let's just tidy this up. Okay, I'll just leave that as it is for the moment. It's not going to look like much at all until we do start styling it with a bit of CSS. So now if we refresh, down the bottom should be that little card that we put in there. There it is. And like I say, it doesn't look like anything at all. There's a little card title. There's some card content. So I think what I'm going to do is start styling this up. And then once we've got it styled up a little bit, I'll put it where we want it over there and do some CSS to make it do what we want it to do. So back to the index.html. Okay, let's put something in there. Today's specials. Or today's special. I guess that'll do it. Inside the content, I guess we want what should we have? We'll have a stake, shall we? Let's make it a title. Just get rid of that. I'll make it sort of H4. So I want it a little smaller than that, which is heading 3. So we'll make it heading 4, which is a little smaller. That sounds yummy. Okay, so there's the title. Underneath that, let's put a little image. I think I've got one that I can use that we've used before here. So it's image, and the source is where it's coming from. Is going to be in our images folder, and inside there, I think that was a stake right there. Let's have a look. Yep, that looks like a stake. Okay. And for those of you who didn't know what I was doing there, I'll just show you. Here's our website folder again with all our website files in it. Inside a folder called IMG, I've got all my pictures, and I just pointed it to that and selected one of these images. If you look there, it says source IMG, which is this folder right here, IMG, and it was just grabbing F2 JPEG, which is right there. Okay, what else do I want to do that? All images, you want to give them an alt tag. I'll just say that stake. That's for people with who are sight impaired. If they got a reader going, it'll actually read out what that image is. It'll tell them it's a stake. You can be more descriptive, or you can put in an SEO term if you want to. Let's give it some size attributes, because that's quite a large image and I don't want it to be too big. I guess I want it sort of 200 by 200. It's a square. So width, say 200. Let's just copy that across, and this time we'll call it height. Okay, that will do for our image. Then underneath that image we want a little description, I guess, of the item, the stake there. So let's open some paragraph tags, and well, I don't know, 12 ounce New York strip. That sounds pretty good to me. Not very healthy, but it's kind of making me hungry. And then on a line below it, so let's put a break tag in, so that will put it on the next line below, and served with that'll work. French fries and house salad. Now let's give it a price. I think I'll use a larger heading again, this H3, for a price. Make it stand out a little bit. I don't know, $14.99. I'd certainly buy that at that price. Okay. So that should have populated that little card. Let's just save that. Back to the site. Quick refresh. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted in there. But I think what I'm going to do now is I want this content to be centered, and I want our title certainly to have I think we'll use this blue background that I've got going up there and have that text as white perhaps. Yep, that'll work. So let's go back and we'll center this content first. So all I want to do, here's our content. I'm just going to add a text center attribute to here. Okay, and this, our card heading, I'm going to give it another class name because I'm going to do some CSS on it to change the background color. But I've got to give it a new class because if I do it just on this one, it's going to change all the other cards that we've got that we made earlier. I don't want to do that. Let's call it pop, I guess, for it's our little pop-up box, and I'll add text light. That'll make our text a light color, will stand out against that blue. Alright, what else do I want to do here? That's probably it for the moment. Let's just save that. We'll go back, just check that what we've done is working. Now when I refresh, this should be centered, and you probably won't see that text because it's going to turn it white or a light color. So let's see. Yep, there we go. And that text is there still somewhere, hopefully. There it is. Okay, it's getting there. Now of course I want to make it a lot smaller. I'll do that with some CSS. So let's start working on our CSS. Okay, and let's start a new title, / /, / pop up. Well, I guess I should call it slide in because I'm going to have it coming in from one side here. Okay, and we called it pop box, I believe, didn't we? Yeah, pop box, and the title is pop. Our classes, I just want to remember that. Control S. So let's start with the actual whole thing itself. So pop box, as it's a class, it's period or dot pop box. Open and close some curlies. All right. Well, in a minute we're going to want to give it a position fix, but for the time I'm just going to set some style. So I want to make it smaller, so I want to make it about, I don't know, let's have a look, see. I know that's 200, so I guess let's make it 300 wide. So I'll just say width 300. Let's give it a box shadow. It's got one already. I want to make it a bit bigger. And I'll use one that I quite often use for these things, which is 5 by 10 by 25. And we'll give it a color of 555, which is a fairly dark grey, or mid to dark grey. In fact, that's what I used up there. Okay, that'll do for that for the moment. Let's just save that. Make sure I put a semicolon on the end there because I'm going to want to add some more. Control S to save. Right, hopefully that will have shrunk this down and we'll have a box shadow around it. We've already got one, but I want it a little larger than that. Let's have a look. Yep, I think that's going to work. It's kind of shrunk it down to the size that I want. Okay, so I can't see our title up here. So let's give that a background. That was called Pop, I believe. Just check that. Well, in fact, I know it was. I can remember. Getting old, memory's not that good, but I can remember that. If I'm wrong, it won't work. Okay, so is that a... where's that nice blue colour? Nope. There it is. That looks like it. Yep. Just going to copy that colour. In fact, I'll copy that whole attribute because that's what I'm going to use. And I'll plop that one in there. And let's just have a look. Control S. Back to the site. And refresh. There we go. Let's turn that the blue color. And what I want to do is I want to put a little image there. You may say, well, let's put that central, the same as these, but what I've got in mind, I'm going to have it pulled over a bit, so bear with me and you'll see why I'm not going to align it center. I want to add a little image just in front of there. And if I go back to my images folder, I've got a little image. I think I made it 40 by 40. Oh, 35 by 35. There we are, and it's called Specials, and it's just a little outline of a white chef's hat that should stand out on there. So let's put that in there to our HTML. There's our title. So I'm going to put it just before this text here. So I want an image, then the source, and it's in our images, and I called it Specials, I think it was. There it is. And we'll give it an alt tag as well. I'm not going to give it a width or height attribute because I think it's small enough at 35 and 35. Okay, let's just save that. That should be what I want there. And back to the site. Now that little hat should appear there, hopefully. There it is. Alright, now we need to start styling this, and I want to push it over here. And then I want it sort of halfway up the page. So let's do that with a bit of CSS. In fact, let's do it with the Chrome Inspector. That'll probably be the easiest way to do it. So I'm just going to right click and hit Inspect. And here's our pop box, which is the whole thing. Let's just slide this up so we can see it. Let's have a look what we need to do here. Well, I'm going to give it position fixed for, I know that much, because I know it wants to be fixed. And I want to give it a Z index, or Z index, however you like to say it. And what did I say? Minus 200 pixels, I guess. Or 200 pixels. And let's put it percentage up from the bottom, say 15%. Okay, so it's getting to where we want it. So that's 200 pixels out from the side, and what I want it to do is slide in there a little bit. So let's make it minus, if I do it minus 200, if that's 300, it should be sticking out by 100. Let's see if that works. There we go. Okay, now that's getting to where we want it. Let's it's got a box shadow, got everything we need there. Okay, I don't want to hide it just yet, because what I need to do, I want this little tab sticking out here, so we just got the chef's hat. So I can target that separately. Right, so let's just copy this and add it to our CSS sheet. And it's the pop box. All right. Save that. Now that pop was that bit with the chef's hat that I want to change a little bit. Let's go back. Just refresh that. Hopefully it should stay where it is. Yep, there we go. Okay, let's target that pop. There we are. That's that top section right there. And what I want to do is I want to pull it over by, let's say, 50 pixels. So let's give it a margin left on this side of minus 50. It should pull it over. Let's have a look. Minus 50 pixels. Yep, that's done it. That's what I want right there. Okay. And he's just got a little lip going on the top there from the card behind. So let's pull it up by giving it a margin top of, say, 2 pixels. Oh, I should say minus 2 pixels. That pushed it down. There we go. So that's right. And we'll give it. Let's give it a little white border so it stands out a bit more. And white, which is FFF. Okay, that's starting to look like it. Now, of course, that hat, I want a bit of padding around it. I'll have to target that separately. Let's just make that a little rounded. Let's give it a border radius of, say, 10 pixels. And I might give it a box shadow as well, the same as we were using before. So let's give it a border radius. Of 10 pixels. Okay, so it's nice. We've got a little rounded element to it there. And we'll also give it that box shadow that I used before, which was 5 pixels by 10 pixels by 25 pixels, and the color was 555. There, that's good. So it's going to stand out nicely on that. Now what I want to do is push that element 100 back, so we just got that tab sticking out. So let's just save this for a minute. Let's copy what we've just done here. Missing my little tag at the bottom there. I want to get all of it and paste this into our style sheet. That was on the pop. There we are. Just tidy that up and save it. Okay, let's now, I know that's 300, so let's change that to minus 300. So it should hide all of that content there. And let's see what we got. Let's refresh. There we go. Now that's getting more like I wanted there. So all we got sticking out really is that tab there. Doesn't look very good, but I'll adjust that in a moment. And you might say to yourself, well, that's no good, doesn't do anything. We want it to do something when we hover over it. Well, I'll take care of that in a second. Let's just see what we want to do here. I want to have that more central. So I think we'll have to add a bit of padding to the top and to the left. Let's have a look, make sure we got the right element right there. I think we want the pop element. Let's just do a bit of padding top. Let's give it 10 pixels, see what that looks like. I think that's too much. Let's try making that 8 pixels. Even 7 pixels might do it. So I want similar top and bottom. Oops, put 8 in there again. So I think, yeah, that looks about right. Now let's give it some padding on the left of 7 also. Yeah, that's going to work. Now I need to push that text out of the way because I just want to see this hat here. I don't want to see the corner of that T there. So let's just copy this over. I'll have to do that separately. I'll have to target that image to do that. Back to our CSS. And that was our pop section. I'll just put that padding in there. Now let's just save that, Control S, and I want to target this image. That's that little chef's hat there. No, it's not. That's a little chef's hat right there. That's the one I want to target. So it's going to be pop, and it's going to be IMG, so pop image. And I want to push it across so it's out of the way. So let's just give it a bit of padding on the right hand side, and that'll push that writing over to the right. So let's start another one. Dot pop and IMG because we're targeting the image, and I'm just going to give it some padding right. I can always change it at a later date. Save that. Let's just have a look, see what we got there. I get that inspector out of the way now. Yeah, you can't see that T anymore. That's fine. But I might even want to bring that over a little bit more. Just give it perhaps an extra 5 pixels and make it stand out a bit. That was there, margin left of -55. Let's save that. Bring it back to the site, refresh. There we go. Let's pull it over a little bit more. That's a definite tab there. Alright. But I still can't see it. Alright, let's fix that. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go pop box. Just copy that. And what we want it to do is something when we hover over it. So let's give it colon. Really important, no space, hover. It may not work if you put a little space in there. And what do we want it to do? Let's open some brackets. we want it to, at the moment, it's got an attribute of right of -300. So if we set that to 0, it should go from -300 over to 0, because we know it's 300 wide, so that should display the whole thing. So let's try that. Zero pix, colon. Save that, back to the site, refresh. Hopefully, there we go. And that's jumping out at us like that. So it's getting there. But what I want to do, I want it to slide out. And also, let's make this top section a little bit longer, so you can't see that bottom corner, so it looks more like a strip. That's very easily done. So we'll make that box a bit longer, and we'll add a transition factor so it actually slides out a lot more gently, but we're almost there. So this is our, let's just inspect that quickly, our pop section again. Right here. So it's all the attributes we put in. So let's give it a width of, say, we know that's about 50. That little overlap there, and we know this is 300, so let's make it like 370, so it's a lot longer. So let's try that. There we go. You can't see the corners there, and it looks like a strip. That's more of what I wanted there, so we'll just save that one. And add it to our pop in our CSS right here. All right. Now then, let's, the whole thing itself, let's give it a transition. Of, say, make it take a second, so that'd be 1 second, and ease in and out. Just put a colon there. That means it should take a second before it sort of zooms out. That'll take a second there. And really, with these, you should put the what they call vendor prefixes in. I believe that would be Moz from Mozilla Firefox. By the time you see this, they may have updated it. You may not need to do this, but it's not bad practice to put this in just to make it compatible with all browsers. Okay, I think that's pretty much going to do what we want it to do there. Let's save that, go back to the site. Get rid of that inspector. Refresh, and now that should, there we go. You see it eases in and eases out. That's exactly what we wanted. I think I maybe have a couple too many picks on that tab there. I'm just going to take a couple off, so that chef hat's more central. I think it's, there we are, margin left 50. Let's make that 53. Back to the site, refresh. Yeah, that looks about right. I can put that special, I can move that special over by a few more as well, today's special, and I think we'll call that job done. and it was that image padding right. Let's make that 50. That way that text today special should be more in line with the text below it. Refresh. Yeah, that'll work. Well, actually it could even go a little bit more. Let's do it this way. Where's our image? Say 55. What does that look like? Oops. What does that look like? Gosh, you can even go a little bit more. Yeah, perfect. Alright, so 60 pics and that will do it. Back to our CSS, let's just change that. Quick save. Back to the site. Get rid of the inspector. Let's have a refresh. Yep. There we go. Job done. Just make sure it's going to work for the rest of the site. Yeah, it works over the white, works over the grey, works over the blue. Got the slider at the top there. Yeah, it's sort of in the middle of there. I could pull it up a little bit more, or pull it down a little bit more. That's entirely up to you. But we could make it slide in just a little bit quicker, can we? Let's make that say 0.7. Let's try that. Yeah, that'll work. So there you have it. That is how you add a pop-in or slide-in or pop-up box info. You can put anything you want in there. You can put a form in there or whatever it is you want to display. So I hope you found that useful. If you have, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. If you're interested in web development, please take one of our courses below. We've got some huge discounts for our YouTube subscribers, and there's also some great free courses down there. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.